Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today, we are doing a 10-team PPR mock draft from the 10th spot, as requested by one of my subscribers named Daniel T. The only thing different about this mock and a lot of other mocks is it is 2 flexes. Now, the strategy is pretty similar to with just 1 flex, so you can watch this if you only play with 1 flex. The strategy is pretty much exactly the same. So, before I start the video, I'd like to ask you guys, could please go down below and click that subscribe button down below. It would really mean a lot to me. It's going to mean a lot to you as well, because when you click that subscribe button, it's getting you every single video that I post on this channel, which means you're going to be able to dominate your draft with all of the videos I put out about the draft. And then during the regular season, you're going to be able to dominate because you're getting the matchups, all of the waivers, all of the trades, and all of the matchups. I mean, I probably said matchups twice, but that's fine, because during the playoffs, which you're going to make because you click that subscribe button, I'm going to help you guys do everything there too, the waiver wire, the matchups, all of that to win your fantasy football championship trophy. And if you don't already have a fantasy football championship trophy, go down below, check the description. It is called fantasybros.com. If you use code Notorious at checkout, you will get 5% off. It would really mean a lot to me. Even if you don't buy anything, check it out. It is pretty cool. So let's get into this 10-team PPR draft from the 10th slot. So the first pick of the draft was Christian McCaffrey, followed by Devontae Adams, DJ, Alvin Kamara, D-Hop, Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott. So if you have noticed here, Ezekiel Elliott has fallen from a guy that was a top 4 pick guaranteed, a top 2 pick pretty much every single time, to a guy that may even escape the first round in some drafts because everyone's scared of this Ezekiel Elliott holdout. As it gets closer to draft season, people are now even more scared to draft Ezekiel Elliott. Will I draft Ezekiel Elliott in the first 4 picks? No. Would I think about it at 9? Probably. Will I be scared when I click that button? Yes, 100%, because if he doesn't show up to play this year, you are fucked with a capital F and a capital U, a capital C, K-E-N-D, all fucking capital, because you are going to get screwed in the ass if you do that. But with that being said, it is now our pick, and we need to pick who we want on our team. So we can go with the double wide receiver strategy here, or double running back strategy, or a wide receiver and a running back, based upon what value we see on the board at each position. So, as you know, we never go quarterback on this channel early before like the 6th round. So, the first round, we would not even think about going Pat Mahomes. But you may see in your at-home league, someone may end up picking Pat Mahomes with their first pick because they are some crazy motherfuckers. So, with that being said, these back-to-back picks are very easy to me. So it's going to be James Conner with the first pick. I like James Conner because of the fact that I know what he will be. A lot of people tell me, oh, Nick, he's in a committee. I don't think he's in a committee at all. I think it's going to be the James Conner show. Jalen Samuels will go out there, obviously, but it's not a fucking committee where there's going to be running 4 different dudes. No, they're going to run 2 guys. James Conner, Jalen Samuels. Benny Snell will probably barely touch the field unless Conner was to go down. If James Conner is healthy, you know what he is. He's a top 10 back. He's a top 5 back every single week. He's a fucking barn burner. He's amazing in fantasy football as long as he's healthy. If he's not healthy, then obviously he's not going to be good. But I think he's healthy. I think he's going to be fine. There's no running back by committee there, so we're going to go with Conner. Now, the second pick is a bit more difficult because I like both of these guys a lot. That's Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon. Now, I think Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb both have the ability to be top 10 guys, potentially even top 6 guys, because I don't think Le'Veon Bell is really going to pan out to be that. And if Zeke's out a couple of games, then Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon could easily be top 5 guys. Now, the thing is, who do I like more and who do I trust more? That is the question here. And you can't go wrong with either of these guys. So I'm going to give you the case for each guy. Nick Chubb is the running back 1 on the Cleveland Browns. The new Cleveland Browns, not the Cleveland Browns of the past. The Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham and a great coach, Freddie Kitchens, who may not actually be their coach. I may be dumb and I may have just said the wrong name because that may be the Cardinals coach's name because I'm dumb like that. So we're going to just Google it. Freddie Kitchens is the coach of... You see how dumb I am? He is the Browns coach. I'm just an idiot who just thinks the wrong thing. But Freddie Kitchens is going to be a better coach than Hugh Jackson. You better believe it. The Cleveland Browns are pretty much playoff or bust with this roster that they have constructed this season. So I like the Nick Chubb there. But the reason why I also like Mixon is because he's like the best player on their team. He's by far the focal point of their team, especially with AJ Green hurt. We know that Joe Mixon will be getting a shit ton of he'll get targets in the passing game. He will get that running work, and he will be very good. So it's a very hard decision to make here. But in my opinion, with a gun to my head, I do think Chubb will finish higher when the season comes to a close. I'm not afraid of Kareem Hunt. I'm really not. Unless he's going to kick me, I'm not really afraid of Kareem Hunt. So I think I would just go with Nick Chubb here. Now, if you're afraid of having two of your best players, because they're our first 2 round picks, be gone week 7, then you can just go with Mixon if that's what you're afraid of. But I know that I draft good enough that I know I can survive week 7 with the guys that I pick up on the waiver wire or that I draft. So I'm pretty confident going with these 2 guys, even if they're on the same bye week. So after with Nick Chubb, Juju Kane at the board, followed by Julio, Travis Kelce, OBJ, Hill, Todd Gurley, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, Dalvin Cook, Kerryon Johnson, Pat Mahomes, AB, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Adam Thielen, Damian Williams, T.Y. Hilton, and David Montgomery. So first tight end off the board at the 2-4 was Travis Kelce. Pretty typical. You will never see any tight end go ahead of Travis Kelce unless somehow that comes back to the NFL. Even then, Travis Kelce will be the higher pick there. You're going to see after Kelce, you're going to see Kittle and Ertz come around the 3rd or 4th round. Typically, they never escape the 5th round. Pat Mahomes was the first quarterback off the board at the 3-2, which is pretty typical as well because you see him go in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. Actually, typically the 3rd or 4th round in these mocks. But in your at-home league, you could see him go from 1 to 4 typically every single time. The 1st round to the 4th round, pretty much every single time, unless you're playing with a bunch of experts. Then he'll go in like the 6th round or something, and that's where his value really is. So after Pat Mahomes went, AB went. And now, with all this news about AB, yesterday I drafted him, I think, in 2 videos. 2 out of 3 of the mocks, or even 3 out of 3 of the mocks. Now, I'm just avoiding him because it's coming out that he's still not showed up to camp due to this helmet issue. They don't know what's going on. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to completely avoid him. You just don't draft him. You don't make that decision to put that diva on your team. You may have made that mistake already, but if you're playing in a bunch of leagues, you don't do it. And you just don't draft Mr. AB. Also, an honorable mention of someone not to draft as well. Todd Gurley has that arthritis knee. Do not draft him. So now we've got back-to-back picks, so we'd either go with a tight end here, or wide receiver, or running back. I'm fine doing 3 running backs all in a row here, which is something I may think about doing. But first, we'll get that wide receiver that we like, and that is right here. The best wide receiver still available is either Stephon Diggs or Robert Woods. Personally, I think I would lean Woods over Diggs. I like Thielen more than Diggs, but I do like Diggs. But I think that I would rather go with Woods. I think Woods is going to be the most safe option on the Rams. Him and Cooks are going to be great every single week. I think Woods has that safe production. He's going to be seeing 7, 8, 9 targets every single game. They're going to rely less on the run game with Todd Gurley's knee being as shot as it is. I think that Robert Woods is going to be a solid option here, so we're going to go with Robert Woods. So now we have the real decision to make. Do we go with 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs, or do we go with 3 running backs, 3 running backs, 1 wide receiver, or 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and a tight end? And in a 10-team league, I'm a lot more likely to swing for that tight end position. I don't necessarily love doing it every single draft, but he has fallen to us here, and that's who I would likely select in my at-home league. Now, some people like Ertz better than Kittle. I prefer Kittle because Kittle's younger. Zach Ertz has Dallas Goedert sniffing up his ass to try to steal that tight end 1 job, which won't happen, but Goddard was getting a lot more usage towards the end of the season, which worries me for Ertz. I know Kittle is likely going to be the number 1 target on that team. Pettis and the other wide receivers are looking like a mess, besides Marquise Goodwin, who definitely has some value super late in your draft. So I think that I would go with Kittle here. I think he's the best tight end available. I think he's in a league like this that's 10. It's a 10-team PPR league. You want to make sure you have that advantage at every single. You're gonna have at the tight end position because everyone's gonna have stacked running backs, stacked wide receivers. Maybe their second flex isn't as good, but everyone's going to have stacked running backs, wide receivers, quarterback. So you need to have that real advantage in the tight end. Because if you're playing George Kittle, and George Kittle, the other team has the 10th best tight end, say Eric Ebron or David Njoku, Kittle could score 5, 6, 7, or potentially even 10 more points than that guy, and that's where you're really going to gain the advantage every single week. And Kittle is just a weekly advantage over every other tight end besides Kelce and potentially Ertz. So after we go with George Kittle, me Timbers, Leonard Fournette at the board, followed by Devontae Freeman, Melvin Gordon, who you cannot draft due to that holdout, Marlon Mack, Josh Jacobs, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Zach Ertz, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Derrick Henry, Philip Lindsay, Cooper Kupp, Kenny Golladay. And now it is our pick. So we will go 1 wide receiver here and then come back towards the running back game, or just go with two wideouts. Who knows? Let's look at the value here. Wideout AJ Green is a no-go for me. He's going to be out for maybe first 2-3 weeks of the season, so you don't want that. And then he's always dealing with that turf toe issue. You just want to avoid AJ Green. He's very injury prone. Like I've said many times, he's in my do not draft wide receiver list. He's the thumbnail of the video because that's how much I don't want you to draft him. If you just looked at the thumbnail and didn't even watch the video, you would know you don't want anything to do with AJ Green. So right here, it's between Ridley, Boyd, DJ Moore, Landry, and Mike Williams. Because I'm sort of thinking maybe Landry will be a great pick here. Will I pick Landry here? Probably not, but I think he definitely has some safe floor. Now it's not just him. It was him and Flash Gordon. He played better when there was two guys out there. When it was just him and a bunch of other guys that were on the team like Callaway, he didn't really succeed that much. But when he's going to be like the wide receiver 2 on the team, he has a lot more value because that's his true setting as the wide receiver 2 on the team. So I think that he does have some value here. If you wanted to get him, you could get him here. Now, the real decision is between Ridley, Boyd, and DJ Moore. This is a decision I make in a lot of videos because I go running backs early, and then I'm ending up with these mid-tier wide receivers. And I really do like all of these options. You can't really go wrong with any of them. Ridley has that hamstring problem that kind of scares me away with him. He's back in action. He suffered that hamstring on July 25th, which kept him out of practice for a while. So he's probably fine. Boyd he's on a worse team. He's on the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 on the team and a lot of people are worried, "Oh, when he's the wide receiver 1 because AJ Green's hurt, he doesn't play as good." Yeah, because in those games he was most of the time playing with the or quarterback 2, not Andy Dalton. So he was dealing with a backup, so he wasn't getting as good of throws. So, in my opinion, I would just go Boyd here. I think he's the more safe option, and I just like him overall better. So, now the question is, who do we go with the 6th pick? Do we go with Ridley, DJ Moore? Do we go with Jarvis? Or do we go back to the running backs? Because as you know, running backs fall off fast. Once after this is a 10-team league, so they're kind of deeper in a 10-team league, but in like a 12-team league, it turns into a certified wasteland pretty soon. So right now, I would just go with the safest pick, in my opinion, which is James White. James White was a top 10 PPR back last season. We know what we have in James White. James White is going to be a guy who touches the ball maybe 5-6 times running. He gets 4, 5, 6 runs every game, gets you 25 yards. But then where his production lies is as that pass catcher, getting 6, 7, 8 targets a game. He comes down with 6 balls, that's 6 free points, plus the 40 or 50 yards he gets, and a potential touchdown. He has a decent floor of 10 points every single week. He's a solid guy to be your flex option that has big game ability. So I would definitely go James White here over his teammate, Sony Michel, who's dealing with those legs injury. I believe it was a knee injury Sony Michel has been riddled with for a while. So after we went James White, AJ Green came at the board, followed by Sony Michel, Calvin Ridley, Jarvis Juice Landry, Deshaun Watson, Tevin Coleman, Tariq Cohen, Mike Evans, Evan Ingram, Aaron Rodgers, DJ Moore, Alshon Jeffrey, Austin Eckler, Christian Kirk, Miles Sanders, Baker Mayfield, OJ Howard, Jared Cook, and now it is our pick yet again. 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks off the board. If you've noticed, now Baker Mayfield and Matt Ryan, are being picked before Andrew Luck because a lot of people are scared of his calf injury. He's dealing with calf pain. This calf injury went now down to his ankle. And I'm very scared of Luck. I'm not drafting him. Do not draft Andrew Luck. You just can't draft someone who's that injured right now. And right here in the 7th round, there's some solid value on Matt Ryan, but we already drafted a tight end early, and this is a 2-flex league. So the only real difference of strategy is I would definitely wait on tight end or quarterback longer in these kind of leagues because you need to make sure you have 2 good flexes. But the Kittle in the 4th round is such good value that I believe you have to take it in a 10-team league. So let's see. We already got 3 running backs and 2 wideouts, so we could go we'll likely go with a running back and a wide receiver here with these next 2 picks. So we'll go with wide receiver first, and this is a very easy decision for me, and that is Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is the Jets' #1 wide receiver. Now they have a cast of Quincy Enunwa. Sorry about that. Jamison Crowder. And Robbie Anderson is the one by far. Robbie Anderson developed a good connection with Sam Darnold towards the end of the season, and I think that they will continue to build upon that throughout this season. I think Robbie Anderson's a pretty safe pick here to be our second flex option. So after we went with Robert Woods, Robbie Anderson, you dumb motherfucker. You already drafted Robert Woods, so Now I want to load up on some more running backs. So right here, typically it would have been Latavius. Oh my gosh, I mean Lamar Miller. It used to be Lamar Miller because Lamar Miller was so safe. You knew he was a solid flex option because he would get you 10 points every single week. He was nothing flashy, but now with the emergence of Duke Johnson coming there, I am very scared of Lamar Miller. I just don't draft him. Kenyon Drake, you could go with here. He has that leg injury. He's in a walking boot. He's questionable for week 1. Will Balaj take his running back 1 from him? Will he become the running back 1? Will Kenyon Drake be set along the wayside, put along the wayside? Who knows? So we're just going to not pick him here, especially in the 2-flex league where I need 2 flexes every single week. If this is a 1-flex league, I'm fine with Kenyon Drake being my 4th running back and just riding the pine. But I know I may have to eventually start him, and if he's the running back 2 on the team, I'll be pretty mad because the running back 2 on Miami is really not that useful. So right here, it's really a decision between Latavius and Rashad Penny. And I think I've leaned both ways in different videos. Sometimes I say I like Murray more, sometimes I say I like Penny more. I like both of these guys a lot. I like Murray because he's the running back 2 on New Orleans. You know he's in that Mark Ingram role. He's going to see 10, 11 touches every single game, catch the ball maybe 1 or 2 times a game, and potentially vulture a touchdown. You know that's his role. And if Alvin Kamara, Mr. AK, goes down, then he is going to be a running back 1, a top 10, top 12, top 15 guy, maybe RB1, RB2 every single week. Or you can go with Rashad Penny. If Chris Carson wants to go down, you know he's an RB1. You know he's a solid flex option right now, even while Carson is the RB1 of the team. It's going to be like a 60-40 split. Reports out of camp is that's going to be a 2/3 split in Chris Carson's favor. I don't believe that, so I'll just go with Rashad Penny here. Even though I think Latavius is probably the safer option. After we went with Rashad Penny, Andrew Luck came at the board, followed by Matt Ryan, Lamar Miller, Hunter Henry, Allison Robinson, and now I have to sneeze. Never mind, I don't have to sneeze because I said it. So, after Allen Robinson, Latavius Murray came at the board, followed by Kenyon Drake, Darrell Henderson, Larry Fitzgerald, Will Fuller, Kareem Hunt, Dante Pettis, Carson Wentz, Drew Brees, Curtis Samuel, Darius Geis, and Ronaldo Jones II. So, now we can go with a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks already off the board out of 10. Typically, this is a round where I would look for a quarterback, but not yet for me. So we can go with a wide receiver and a running back combo here, back to back. So I'm going to go with the best wide receiver available. Now, this is something that I've also been flip-flopping on. Who's the best of these guys? Allison, Westbrook, Watkins, MVS. The 2 Green Bay guys, I think, all these guys I think will finish pretty similarly, except for Watkins. I think Watkins could either be the best of these guys or the absolute worst. Like, I think he's much more of a gamble because at the end of the last season, he's got 2 100-yard games in a row in the playoffs where they need him most. So you would think that's how they'd use him this year. If he doesn't end up doing that this year, I wouldn't be necessarily surprised, but I do think he can do that. But at the same time, I think D.D. Westbrook probably has the highest upside. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 on the team. Not necessarily the wide receiver 1, but the wide receiver 1 in targets. Nick Foles loves targeting the slot option. D.D. Westbrook is the slot. He's a great wide receiver, played great with Blake Bortles, and he will play even better with a better quarterback in Mr. Big Dick Nick Foles. So after we went with D.D. Westbrook, now we get to go hop on that running back roulette. Who's better here? Freeman, Balaj, or Duke Johnson? In my opinion, I don't want Balaj here because I think that there's no chance if Kenyon Drake is like good that Balaj gets a shit ton of playing time. Whereas I know for a fact Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay, at least when the season begins, it'll be like 40-40. Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay, and then 10% to Theo Riddick. So I think Rolls-Royce could potentially emerge as the running back 1 on that team, and I'm willing to take that chance in the 10th round over a guy like Balaj. I also like Duke Johnson, but maybe not there over a guy like Royce Freeman. So after with Royce Freeman, Sammy Watkins came at the board, followed by Geronimo Allison, Chicago defense, Sterling Shepard, Vance McDonald, Marvin Jones, David Njoku, MVS, Kalen Balaj, Russell Wilson, Eric Ebron, Kyler Murray, Jalen Samuel, Cam Newton, LaShawn McCoy, Jared Goff, Duke Johnson, Corey Davis. A lot of teams are taking backup quarterbacks, so now you have to swing for your quarterback. In my opinion, my favorite quarterback still available is Famous Jameis, because I think Famous Jameis is going to play certifiably excellent this year. Now, you could also go with Lamar Jackson here, who's more of a running back than a quarterback. He's going to run. He could potentially run 1,000 yards this season, and I really wouldn't be surprised. That's some Mike Vick-esque stuff right there, but I think that Jameis Winston has the more potential to be a higher quarterback every single week because you just know they're going to either be down in games They're going to be down in games trying to come back because their defense is terrible. Jameis is going to be slinging the ball, throwing all these touchdowns. He has great receivers. He has Mr. Mike Evans. He has better receivers than Lamar Jackson. He has Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard. They got rid of Humphreys, but they have two solid wide receivers. They have a solid tight end, and they have a backfield that is cloudy with a chance of fucking meatballs. So we're going to go with famous Jameis here. I wouldn't hate going Lamar Jackson here, but I'd prefer Jameis in this exact situation. So now we have 3 bench spots left. So this is a 10-team league with 2 flexes. We don't need another quarterback. You only need draft 1. You don't need 2 tight ends. You'll obviously drop someone and pick one up week 4 for George Kittle. So we'll just go with load up on some more running back and wide receiver depth. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs and 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. So you typically want to finish the draft with more running backs than wide receivers. In a 2 flex league, 3 wide receiver league, maybe more similar to even, but I still like to get more running backs because running backs are very volatile, and having 4 elite, or not 4 elite running backs, but 4 top 20 running backs will absolutely roll over your opponents. So at this pick, I think I would just go with Mr. Matt Breida right here. I think he is the best option here besides Justin Jackson. I think that Matt Breida will be good all season. Right now, Mr. Jerick McKinnon's on the pup. I think Matt Breida can be the RB1 the team's looking for. In practice, they're saying that he's very versatile, can run the ball, can catch passes, looking to see 180 touches this year. I like Matt Breida. He's a glass cannon. He gets murdered, right? You'll think he's dead, and he gets risen back up, and he's perfectly fine. He plays every single game, never misses any games, even though you thought he may be dead, so I like Matt Breida here. Everyone with Matt Breida, Colton Sutton at the board, followed by Emmanuel Sanders, DK Metcalf, Austin Hooper, Carlos Hyde, Deshaun Jackson, LA Rams, James Washington, N'Keal Harry, Dante Moncrief, Devin Singletary, AP, Golden Tate, Peyton Barber, Kiki Cootie, Anthony Miller, Jags D, Phillip Rivers. So now we're going to get another running back here. We're going to go with the best running back available. And in my opinion, that's just going to be Justin Jackson. I know I can start him as my flex for the first 8 weeks because I believe Melvin Gordon's not going to sign back. And Melvin Gordon signs back, this pick is irrelevant. But right now, I know I can start him as my flex as long as Melvin Gordon doesn't sign for probably 8 weeks. You saw him do it last year. He was a great running back last year while Melvin Gordon was injured. While Melvin Gordon is gone now, I think he will be pretty good. Eckler is being drafted very highly. I still don't mind drafting Eckler because Eckler has value when Melvin Gordon's back. Justin Jackson has none when Melvin Gordon's back, but Justin Jackson will have a great role for the first couple of games while Melvin Gordon is gone. Everyone with Justin Jackson, now it's time to get another wide receiver. Now, right here, if available, I would go with Josh Gordon here. He's the best wide receiver still available, but I think his ADP is going to shoot up to like the 6th, 7th, 8th round. So he will not be here in the 14th round. Maybe right now you could snag him there, but in a couple of days, his ADP will move. So I just go with Mr. Michael. Actually, it's kind of a hard decision back here. I like Gallup. I like John Brown. I like Marquise Goodwin, and I like Traquan Smith and Humphreys. I think Michael Gallup is probably on the best team of those guys. I think Michael Gallup showed in the preseason that he has some value on the team. They got rid of Beasley. He caught both targets in the opener that they played. Both of his targets for 19 yards, which is pretty solid. I like Michael Gallup. He played great week 2 as well. I don't have a stat line right there, but he did pretty good. So I like Gallup here. After one with Gallup, TJ Hawkinson at the board, followed by Lamar Jackson, Josh Gordon, Flash Gordon himself, Damian Harris, Jamison Crowder, Big Ben, Brady, Madison, and now a bunch of kickers and defenses. I'm only going to say real players. Delaney needs a Walker. Haha, get it? Because he's old and he always gets hurt. And now it's our time to pick a defense. So the way you're going to go the way you're going to go and pick your defense, you're going to go on Google, type in NFL schedule week 1, okay? And then you're going to go find a defense playing a shitty offense week 1, and that defense is the Browns playing against the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to go with the Cowboys here. And then week 2, they're playing a more difficult matchup. You know what you do? You drop them like it's hot, and you get rid of them. And pick up a new defense playing against an easier team. So we're going to go with the best kicker available, Gostowski. After with Gostowski, Kai Fairbank at the board, followed by Ty Will, Dion Lewis, a bunch of kickers and defenses, Justice Hill, Giorgio Trevecchio, and then Devin Bunches of Funches. So, our finishing roster at quarterback, we have Famous Jameis. Our 2 RBs are Connor and Chubb. Our 2 wideouts are Woods and Boyd. Our tight end is George Kittle. Our flexes are James White and Robbie Anderson. Our kicker is Gostowski. Our defense is the Browns. Our bench is comprised of Rashad Penny, D.D. Westbrook, Royce Freeman, Matt Breida, Justin Jackson, and Michael Gallup. So thank you guys all for watching the video. If you did end up enjoying, please go down below and click that subscribe button, or click the one that's on your screen, or it's going to be on your screen in a few seconds. It's going to be Johnny Manziel throwing up that money sign. Click on that. Click the notification bell to get notified for the daily videos I make. I make 3 videos every single day during the off season, or during the draft season, I should say. So have a great goddamn day. I love all you motherfuckers. Thank you for 500 subs. Goodbye.